How many of you have gone to sleep one night only to wake up the next morning to find out your partner, in my case, my husband, has been living a double life and you never had a clue? I found out about this on Wednesday, March 18th, 2009. That was the first time that I discovered I was married to someone living a secret double life. And I'm excited to tell the story to you of how it was revealed to me and everything that happened in the ensuing days, months, and years after discovering this. I do have to say and preface this with, it's a whole lot more than just the fact that I thought I was worth $10 million and discovered I was actually penniless. So on March 18th, I was headed out on an errand when my phone rang. It was my ex-husband calling, telling me that he was hoping to spend some time with me that morning. So I turned the car around and met him at our motorhome. Now, he told me later that it was intentional that he had me meet him at our motorhome because he knew I hated the motorhome. I hadn't wanted it. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was another one of his frivolous, excessive purchases. But we owned it. He wanted to have a chat with me. So he asked me to meet him at the motorhome, and I did. We sat down at the kitchen table of the motorhome, and he destroyed my world. He also told me later that he had planned that day, that moment, for over 1 year. So I walk in, I sit down at the kitchen table in the motorhome, and he had been on the phone. He ended his phone conversation, sat down, and told me that he wanted to talk to me about his company, Market Street Advisors. This was his full-time job. It was his investment company that he owned and ran. And he said, I need to tell you that my company, Market Street Advisors, is a sham, and it has been from the very beginning. I've actually been running a Ponzi scheme. It's hard to even breathe when I think back to that moment and being told that particular sentence. I honestly wasn't too sure what a Ponzi scheme was. I knew it was an illegal thing to do, but I hadn't paid much attention to Ponzi schemes beyond that. He then proceeded to tell me that 2 days before, on Monday, March 16th, he had hired an attorney. That on Tuesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, ironically, that was the day I took the last family pictures of the family as I knew it, only I didn't know those were the last pictures I would ever take of our family. But anyway, on Tuesday, he, in the company of his attorney, had turned himself in to federal authorities, representatives of the U.S. government, and revealed his crimes. Later that night, while we were gathered at the TV as a family watching American Idol, he got up in the middle of the show, announced that he had to go to a meeting with our church leaders. He left for a period of time, came back while the show was still on, sat down, continued watching American Idol with us, and when I asked how his meeting had gone, he told me fine, and went to bed that night thinking everything was normal. And then on that morning, Wednesday, March 18th, that was the date that all of those people had given him to tell me. So I was the fourth reveal, the fourth conversation or party that he told. And I can guarantee sometimes the wife really is the last to know. That's exactly what happened in my case. So he's destroyed my world. My mind is reeling. None of this seems real to me. And he proceeded to tell me that all of our assets were frozen and scheduled for seizure by the federal government. He told me that he anticipated being charged within 7 days, sentenced within a month, and taken into custody within 6 to 7 weeks. And following all of that, he anticipated serving a sentence of 5 to 7 years in federal prison. When he uttered the words prison, I cannot even describe how that felt or what I was thinking. My mind was reeling. I didn't know how I was going to live or support my family or anything. I did hear the word prison, but I remember thinking and saying to him, oh my gosh, well, thank goodness the house is paid off. At least the kids and I will have a place to live. And when I expressed that out loud to him, he said, no, you don't understand. The house is gone. The cars are gone. The savings and investments are gone. Everything is gone. And then he reminded me that everything would be seized by the federal government and would go toward paying restitution to the victims of his crimes. So at the same time that my mind is reeling and I'm feeling shock and horror and disbelief, there is just a part of me centered in darkness. I just could not comprehend. It felt like I didn't even understand English. I just kept trying to process it, and it wasn't working. I also kept thinking, he's got to be joking. This can't be real. No way is any of this true. He'd always kind of been an absent-minded professor, forgetful about names or dates. Even once on a cruise in October, I had had a beautiful cake delivered to me with all of the wait staff congratulating me on my anniversary. Only our anniversary was in August. And I reminded my ex-husband of that, and he looked at me stunned and in shock, thinking, wait, well, what have I forgotten? This is for your birthday then. And I reminded him, no, my birthday is also in August. So he was just forgetful about some things. So the whole time he's telling me this, I keep thinking, this has to be a joke. This has to be an April Fool's joke. April Fool's Day is only a few weeks away. He's always confused about the calendar. This has to be a prank, but this is so not funny. He is not being very funny right now. I also remember asking about one client in particular, the father of one of my really good friends that I had known since college, even longer than I had known my ex-husband. I knew that that particular person had invested money with him a few months earlier, maybe up to a year earlier, and I was worried about them, worried about that money. And I remember asking, well, what's their situation? How are they? How could you do that to them? And he assured me they would be fine, that there would be restitution. And then, despite all of that, somehow, despite all of the shock and horror, a small yet insistent voice in my head was strongly speaking to my mind. Is that all? Ask him, is that all? Is there more? Is that all? Ask. I felt like a fool because I couldn't really imagine what else there could be. I mean, wasn't a secret double life of crime enough? My mind just would not stop reeling. But I listened to that insistent voice and repeated the question out loud. Is that all? I don't know that I was even expecting an answer, but I got one, and it wasn't all. He shook his head no, and then he revealed that in addition to running a Ponzi scheme and defrauding the world, he had also hired call girls. Now, if crime hadn't blindsided me enough, for some reason, the infidelity shocked me as much or more than approximately his 15 years of crime. I still think I couldn't believe any of it or comprehend any of it, but then he started to cry. And I'm not sure if I'd ever seen him cry before. And that's when it hit me. This was real. He wasn't joking. My life was suddenly a nightmare. This cannot be happening. This cannot be me. This cannot be my life. It felt like the walls and the world was closing in on me, and I had to get away.
My husband is currently on vacation with his mistress, and I'm gonna confront them. My husband's always had a lot of work trips. Little did I know that work trips were code for an excuse he can use to go see his married coworker halfway across the country without his wife finding out. I wish I could say the way I found out about his affair was that I did some super sleuthing. No, my husband is just an idiot. Last month, my husband sent me a screenshot of an Amazon order he placed for new clothes for himself. And at the very bottom of the screenshot, I saw that there was an order for women's clothes that were not my style. And when I looked at the name of who it was being sent to, I saw that it was his work wife. Something did not sit right with me about that. So I immediately went and checked his email and his search history, and it was right there, laid out in front of me, the entire affair. That November leadership conference he was supposed to go to for his job, yeah, no, that was a romantic getaway. Like, I should have known. Who would even want him at a leadership conference? He's a freaking loser. Oh, but this business trip he left for today, it's luxurious. It is a spa vacation with couples massages and cooking classes and monogrammed robes from Etsy. He always told me he thought monograms were tacky, but I guess people change. And has this man ever taken me to a spa? No. The most romantic place we've been to in the last year is a Buffalo Wild Wings. And listen, I love Buffalo Wild Wings, but they do not offer couples massages. So when I found this out last month, I was hurt, devastated, angry, all of the feelings that you feel. But I kept it together and I didn't say anything because if that man's gonna cheat on me, I'm gonna get my revenge. For the past month, I have been my husband's idea of the perfect wife. Betty Crocker who? I was making a new pastry every single day, okay? Honestly, I've gotten really good. I should start a little bakery or something. I was doting over him like he wasn't a lying, cheating loser. But today's the day. Today he left for his work trip and the month I put into biting my tongue, it's gonna pay off. My flight leaves in a few hours because I booked a room at the same romantic resort as they're in. I mean, I have to get used to that joint bank account before the divorce. Buckle up, because here's the plan. I found the itinerary of what my husband and his mistress are gonna be doing on the trip. So at a time when they're getting a couples massage or doing something where they're gonna be out of the room for a while, I'm gonna go to the concierge and say that I need an extra key to me and my husband's hotel room. Now, I literally have a credit card with his name on it, so I don't think it's gonna be an issue getting an extra key. Then, I'm gonna go into their room, and I'm gonna use the month's worth of evidence I've compiled, which includes credit card receipts, photos, emails, everything. And I'm gonna tape them all around the hotel room. And right in the middle, I'm gonna tape up the divorce papers that I've already signed. Right next to them, his mistress's husband's divorce paper that he signed. Now, he didn't want to go all the way to the resort with me, but he was in on it. I'm also going to tape up the cheating clause that's in our prenup because I'm going to remind him that he just lost a lot of money. And then the next day, little do they know, we're all doing group yoga together. I love having his itinerary. This man has underestimated me for the last time, and he's about to pay for my entire spa retreat.
My husband is getting drinks with a coworker and I'm terrified. My husband and I have been together for 9 years and we've been married for 5. And the other day he was showing me a video on his phone and I saw a text come through on the top of his phone from a female name that I didn't recognize. I asked him who it was and he said that it was a colleague of his that works for a company that his company works close with often. He has text previews off so I couldn't read exactly what she said, but my suspicions are definitely raised now. And yes, I know it's wrong, but when he was in the shower that evening, I went through his phone so that I could see why this girl was texting him. I found out that they've been getting coffee at work during the day, pretty much every day, sometimes to talk about work and sometimes not. Prior to last week, it was maybe like a once a month thing where they would get together and talk, but now she has joined a board that he's also a part of. But they had a board meeting and then it seemed like they all went out as a group for drinks after until like 11 that night. I did know that he was out with his colleagues that night and I wasn't concerned at all, but what's really concerning is that he texted her that night asking to make sure she got home all right and basically said how much fun he had with her and how he wished he got more of an opportunity to talk with her instead of everyone else. The morning after that, he texted her saying good morning and asking her to drinks next week. She agreed and he said that he couldn't wait. Of course, I looked her up and she's a very beautiful woman. So I asked him again later who she was and what their connection was, and he basically just reiterated the same thing that he told me earlier, saying that she's a colleague and she's helping him get connected with exciting opportunities in her company. I know that he's been trying to network a lot recently, and he's also a really friendly guy. He likes to be involved with everything. So I really don't want to go scorched earth and accuse him of anything if I don't know for sure, especially because my insecurities has been something that we've had to work through throughout our relationship. But I am terrified that he's going to cheat on me. So I just came here to ask you guys how you would deal with the situation without like ruining the marriage and accusing him.
Hey guys, story time on how I FaceTimed the guy that I was dating at the time with the 2 other girls that he was cheating on me with. Let's get into it. So this was the end of my freshman year of college. I was making poor decisions for myself. Let's put that right there, okay? I was making terrible decisions. I was on the dating apps and I, meet this guy. We start like Snapchatting. He asked me to sleep over. The first time I met him, he asked me to sleep over at his place on a Tuesday night. I'd never met him. Guys, I did that. Why did I do that? If you are watching this, do not do that. Please do not do that. That is not safe. Anywho, at least I live to tell the tale. After this, we start hanging out like a lot more, like increasingly so. Like I'm seeing him a lot. We have this like situationship going, classic college situationship, whatever. So I asked him to my sorority formal. It was my very first one, and I was like super excited. I'm like, who else would I ask? I know I'm not like dating this man. I don't know him that well, but like I'm gonna ask him. Also, wait, I should have mentioned that, like, he was telling me how much he liked me all the time. He was really, like, love bombing me. He was like, I like you so much. Like, we have something so good. I deleted all the dating apps. Like, I'm not even on the apps anymore. Like, the works. He was doing all that. So when I asked him to my sorority formal, I'm thinking, he's going to want to. He's going to be like, hell yeah. He was like weirdly hesitant about it. And I was like, okay, no pressure. Like, you don't have to come. But then he started getting super excited about it. He started like calling me all the time. And then we were getting closer and whatever. So yeah, this is key to the story. The night of the formal, he meets me at my dorm, right? Like, we're going to meet in my dorm and pregame, like me and my roommate who were in the same sorority, her date was coming. We were going to like pregame a little bit, whatever. And then like get on the bus. You like get on a bus to go to these things. So after we're at my dorm room, we walk to go get on the bus. We get on the bus and he knows this girl in my sorority. And I'm like, that's really random. How do you know her? Like, she said hi to him. He like would not tell me how he knew her. Like, he was so weird about it. The night is fine. We go back to my dorm. And also he had this like clothing line that he was starting. And he's like, I'm a graphic designer. And I was a graphic design major for the first 2 years of college. So I was like, oh my God, it's meant to be. Oh my God. And he gave me a sweatshirt that he designed. And I was like, hell yeah, free sweatshirt. Like, okay. So then, like, I think it was a couple weekends later, the Sunday, I get a message from my friend. She's like, hey, was this your date at formal? And alas, it's a screenshot of them talking on Bumble. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. So like, in her defense, okay, so she met him very briefly at formal. She was in my sorority. She met him. It was dark. She like sees him on Bumble and she didn't even realize it was him, right? Like, I totally do not think anything of that. So then immediately when she realized, she texted me and she's like, what the hell? And I'm pissed. I'm so pissed, obviously. I like text him. I'm like, you need to call me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, why? I'm not going to call you unless you tell me why. And like all this weird stuff. He was so strange. So then I FaceTime him. I confront him about this, obviously. I'm like, what the actual hell? This is literally my friend. And like, you told me XYZ, you told me you wanted to date me, all this stuff. He proceeds to gaslight me for 45 minutes on this FaceTime call. 45 minutes on this FaceTime call. Being like, I never said that. What are you talking about? Like, textbook gaslighting. I have never been gaslit like that before. I was crying, sobbing in tears, like so frustrated over this because I was like, I don't even know what to say to you. Like I feel insane. And every time I try to hang up, he would start crying and be like, no, don't hang up now. And so I finally like just was able to hang up. So later that night, I like gave him a final call and I was like, dude, we're over. Like what, like, ew, like you disgust me, like ew. He starts sobbing on the phone call. He's like, no, please, like, what, like, it doesn't have to end, like, why do you just have to end it? Like, this man was, like, actually crumbling on the phone call, and I was laughing, I'm sorry, but, like, you cheat, like, you're done. Okay, so it gets better. So the next day, I'm like, you know, I'm pissed, but I'm like, okay, good riddance, like, ew. And one of my friends comes up to me and she's like, hey, oh my God, I heard about like what happened with, you know, so-and-so. And I'm like, oh yeah, with my friend blank. And she's like, oh no, I'm talking about with insert a different girl's name. And I'm like, what? So she proceeds to give me the contact information of the third girl, who I then add on Snapchat. And I'm like, hey, what the hell? Like, so he's been doing this exact same thing to you. And we're all freshmen in college, so we live in dorms that are like very close to each other. And she was like, wait, girl, like come over. So I go over there and I text my other friend who he was messaging on Bumble, and I'm like, hey, can you meet me at this room? Like we should all like talk about this. So essentially with the third girl who wasn't my friend, we'll give her a name. We'll call her Emily. So with Emily, he was doing the exact same thing to me. And on that night of formal, he literally shows up, went to her room first to give Emily a sweatshirt, goes to Emily's room, gives her a designed sweatshirt, hangs out with her and does whoever knows, you know, I don't know what. Then he walked back to his car so that when I got him from his car, it looked like he had just gotten there. Crazy. And remember that girl in my sorority who he knew on the bus? Yeah, it's because she's really close friends with Emily. And then when the friend of Emily said, hey, so-and-so is going with Kendall to the formal. Like, what is that all about? I thought you guys were together. He goes, oh, yeah, she works for me. So apparently I was his employee. Okay. So anyways, all three of us were together. We're hashing this all out. And then she's like, should I FaceTime him so I can like end things? So she FaceTimes him and it's just her at first. And she's like, you know, we need to talk. Like, I heard about you and Kendall, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, what? Like, okay. And he's like, we'll calm down. And he starts like being a dick to her. And then she like shows all of us sitting there and we're all like, hi, hey. He just hangs up the phone. No sobbing. No, he didn't even freak out. Like, I think this man was a sociopath because he could like turn on these fake emotions, or maybe a psychopath. I don't know. He could turn on these fake sobbing, you know, he's sobbing and super sad when I called to end things. When she did it, he was like, okay, fine. Like, that was crazy. Yeah, men.
I was an escort for 6 years and my boyfriend had no idea. So my boyfriend and I dated for 5 years and he never knew what I was doing. Most girls who work like I did, nobody knows. Not their boyfriends, not their family, sometimes not even their closest friends. So he was working 2 jobs and I was working like 4 hours a day. I just told him I was working as an influencer, like on Instagram. And I got too confident that he was never gonna find it out, and I left a scribbled email on the kitchen counter one day. So he found it weird and he started snooping until he found a website. And on that site, like, you have multiple girls, and he found me. And the thing about this is that it has multiple descriptions, basically reviews. So with my images and also with what I was doing on those visits. He confronted me, obviously, and he was really emotional. I came clean. I told him, like, there was no way that after what he saw I could hide it. And he actually did forgive me, but afterwards, I mean, things were broken. There was a lot of silence and a lot of tension. For 5 years, he had never yelled at me. He was a very calm person. And even when he confronted me about all of this, he was always pretty calm. But then like a week later, he got home from a night out and he was absolutely drunk. And so this is when he snapped at me, and he was going through like this rage fit. He started throwing all my makeup down the toilet, like flushing it, and he's like twice my size, so I couldn't do anything and I got really scared. So I called the cops. The day after, he told me that he thought he could deal with it, but he can't. And he wasn't yelling or drunk anymore, and he had a very calm conversation. He was very mature about it. And obviously I get it. I mean, I wasn't innocent, obviously, but he wasn't perfect either. It's super weird because someone's in your life for 5 years and then all of a sudden you guys don't talk anymore, there's no more contact. But honestly, I'm kind of relieved because I don't have to pretend anymore. Like, I don't have to lie. I'm not proud of what I did, but at least, like, I'm not embarrassed to admit it.
Story time when me and my boyfriend had got into a fight because I went to his phone and called him cheating. TikTok, I am not promoting any violence. All I'm doing is telling the story. We was on the phone earlier that day, 11 o'clock, 11 in the morning. So he came in with the idea, oh, let's just order some food and you could come over here. We could just watch a movie, whatever, you know. A cheap, quote unquote, movie date. So I was like, okay, what time do you want me to be there? What time do you want me to come? What time do you want me to start getting ready? So he told me, he was like, just come over after 4 p.m. because everybody's going to be out the house, so nobody's coming over and nobody's coming back home until Monday morning. Everybody left to go somewhere for the weekend. Everybody in his house left to go somewhere for the weekend. So I was like, okay, let me know if you need anything or if we're gonna need anything before I come to your house so that I know I gotta stop by the store. He told me all we need is like foam cups. So I said, okay. Fast forward, it's like 5:45 and I text him, let him know that I just left the store and I'm gonna be at your house in a minute. So make sure you outside and that door is open so I can just come in because my feet are hurting. So then I got to his house. We went to his room. We was looking for a movie to watch on Netflix, but I know how Netflix is. Netflix, sometimes they have good movies and sometimes they don't got good movies. So we just went on TikTok. We just go search like some good movies on Netflix. We found one, turned it on or whatever. Movie started getting boring, so he bring out his phone and we both watching TikToks on his phone. Somebody ended up calling him.